We got a couple of minutes before lunch. Does anybody have any questions for Dwight or Mary Ann? Dwight is going to be back in our panel. Okay. Fred? No. Step right up.
My question goes to Mary Ann. Hi, I'm Fred Klein from Pullman and Comley. In talking about your programs, at least in the examples that you were giving, you were saying that there were no fee types of offsets where you could buy your way through, a program. And I was wondering whether or not there's been given thought to systems like a cap and trade type of program, similar to what's going on in the energy sector.
So we actually designed NetBlue to be able to do just that. The only reason I said no in lieu fee option in the example was that was a choice that in the case example we had this mythical community make. But that's a clear decision that can be made right off the bat by the community. How do they want to have that offset done? And it could be done in a market-based approach. It could be done with like an exaction fee. Sure. It could be done a wide variety of ways, and we go through in the materials all the different ways it could be done. I really think that offsets, if we can get this to take on a life of its own beyond the small number of communities that have implemented it, I think it can set up a very lively cap and trade market for offsets, just like it's done in air. I mean, air's been doing this negotiation for, like I say, 30 years. I think the Economic Development Commission, which is what it was called then when in 1983 when my son was little, I did a consulting project testing out air offsets and ride-sharing strategies. I mean, that was 1983. Air has it's really gotten very sophisticated, but we've never really done it in water in the same way, and I think it's worth a try.
Yeah, well, I would just say, Mary Ann, and you can answer this question. There's no reason why somebody doing an offset, and incidentally, one analog to this, I've got to say, is grid-tied solar. People retrofitting their homes with solar for green energy goes back in the grid, and we're talking here about staying connected to the water system. But if I were a developer and I was looking for offsets, I'd go to some apartment owner of a 30-year-old apartment building and say, I'd like to give you the money to install low-flow toilets in your 100 units, and I want that offset to use in my project.
Right.
That's the power of retrofitting with NetBlue. It allows us to reach back to those older developments and provide the economics to bring them up to speed.
And so the community can decide, do you want to empower the developer to make that interaction with the existing buildings? Maybe he owns already some existing buildings that he could apply that retrofit to. Or do you want the town to organize that because the town wants to interact with its own customers and then charge the developer? There are different ways, and the ordinance goes through all of those options. You just choose which ones you like best.
Yeah,
They all work.
You could have a bank of offsets.
Yeah.
Great, thank you, thank you. Dwight is going to be back in our panel later on, so if you have questions, please write them down on your question cards on your table, and we'll be addressing those questions. I'm not sure Mary is going to be able to hang around. She's got, I think, a 3 o'clock flight to get back, but anyway. But I just want to acknowledge, again, our sponsors, okay, Weston and Sampson. We have Mr. Don Snyder from Snyder Engineering out there. Visit all of the booths. We have the Connecticut Irrigation Association out there. Visit all the booths. We want to thank you for, again, participating. I'd like to acknowledge the man, ladies and gentlemen, who is, we term him in the Connecticut section the year, Mr. Fuller. And with us this year, Mr. John Hudak, who started the George Warren Fuller Award. That's the highest award in the American Waterworks Association, and John is the well-deserving recipient this year. And thank you. Welcome to the fold, John. I was lucky enough to be awarded the Fuller about 10 years ago. And John, thank you so much for all you do as far as that goes. Also, we have our Water and Sewer Commission guys here, Mr. Norm Ward and Dick Cody from the town of Portland, as well as our Public Works Director, Mr. Bob Shea, and Ashley Mazurowski, who I affectionately call Ski in the town hall, and so forth. And our first select woman is here also. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to lunch. The food here is fantastic. Enjoy, and we'll be back right after lunch. Thank you so much.